Okay, very well. We are on week 9 of the Defeating Depression series. And this week we will be talking about connecting with others, tools for joy are the tools that we use to allow and remind ourselves that we're joyful and that we can manage the thoughts and the emotions and understand what life is all about, really. So this part of today is connecting with others and the importance of why is this something that can help us removing depression from our mind and becoming free, really, free of the mind. Other people can help support us, as well as maybe cause problems for us. But then it's important to understand the connections and the value of the connections and how to really connect with others. Before we go on with anything, the biggest question that I would bring up is, who am I? What am I doing? Understanding and learning about myself would probably be the most important movement in my life. A lot of people sit and think about this, but a lot more don't. And it's easy to sit around and judge others without really understanding who we are first. When you say who you are, when somebody asks you who you are, what would be your answer? What would you say? So if I give you an activity to write down in 15 words or less who you are, what would you write? So I would highly urge you to take a few minutes later on in this program and actually sit down and write down, who are you? If somebody asks you, who are you? What would you say? Realizing that we generally identify ourselves with things, with titles, with money, with beliefs, such as I'm a doctor, I am a husband or a wife, I'm a brother. All of these things that are attached to us, whether they're titles or what kind of a society do I live in and where is my status in this society, those are normally the things that we identify with. So if you ask who you are, I would generally say, my name is Alex, I'm a father, I am a grandfather, I am a Ayurveda practitioner, I have a house, I have cars, on and on and on, right? But is this really who I am? Or are those just definitions? Do we live by these definitions and the rules that we're given, like what's right and what's wrong in a society? Are we always judging based on these rules and based on these definitions? Or do we believe that there is right when there is wrong as well? So there is a world of duality that we live in. And we're constantly, if you think about it, are judging from one to another. And we set these expectations. Either we set them or it was set for us. It's always, once again, a judgment of this is less or more. Do I need to have a bigger house? Do I need to have a newer car? Do I need to have a better paying job? Do I need to have a better looking mate? Do I, all these things, you just, when you think about it, when is it enough? At one point. So when you work with these definitions, the ego takes over, and ego wants more and more and more, and it wants to help you separate from your surroundings, so that there's you and there's everybody else, which is what the world of ego is. What would be very helpful if people could set this up in the beginning of their life as setting goals for yourself based on not how much you want or what do you want it for? If you ask people, what do you want? A lot of people don't know. They would tell you that they want a bigger car, a nicer house in a better neighborhood. I want to live in so-and-so place. I want to be married to so-and-so person. There's all these things that they want that when you ask them, why do you want it? They generally won't know. And I would highly urge and strongly suggest that you ask people this question. As you ask yourself, why do I need all this? You will find that if you really search and search and search, there is an end. And in this class right now, I would rather have you figure it out for yourselves of what this end would be. But what I want to emphasize and bring to your attention that everything you do is really a means to an end. So rather than thinking about the means, would it make sense, or rather would it not make sense to be more aware of the end and be clear of what's the end result I want, right? You will find that if you sit down and play this game for yourself or with someone else, the end result will always be happy. You want money, you want better looking spouse, you want greater kids, you want nicer neighborhood. All of this is because you think that it will bring you happiness. And then when you get it, when you buy that Mercedes and you drive it for 2 days and you go, oh, it's great, but it's not that happiness I was looking for. So maybe I got to get a bigger Mercedes. So, and there it goes. You keep going. Very important, very, very important is to ponder on this and understand what you are, who you are, and what do you really want. We talked about in the previous classes that we're not just a body. But do we really recognize that? Do we really understand that we're not just this body? We're a lot bigger than that. The body is just a tool that we're using in this life to experience what we're experiencing. It is not all we are. So I want to emphasize, and I want to bring it to your attention, to spend time to know yourself first before you go out and try to make new friends. Because when you know yourself, then you would recognize what you want. And then that would make it a lot easier to move through life. Ayurveda teaches us that there are 5 layers to the body. It's the physical body, which is the one that we see. And then right outside of the physical body, there's an energy body. And then right outside of that, there is the mind body. And then right outside the mind body, and what I say right outside, I'm talking about energetically. We're talking about different vibrations. And we're talking about intelligent energy forms. So outside the mind body is the intellect body, the intellectual body. The intellectual body is the one that connects us to our bliss body, the higher life body, the spirit. This is how we are here. Our connection to the divine is the bliss body in a way. And so when you understand that we're more than just this physical body that we're looking at, then when you can close your eyes, since you don't really, you're not trained to see the other bodies, then you would feel them. You could feel your energies. You would feel that your mind is thinking and thoughts are being generated. And you would feel and you would understand actually also that your intellectual body is at work. You're always constantly trying to figure things out. When the intellectual body is confused or misguided, it is very hard to connect the bliss body to our mind body. Therefore, we're confused about life in general. So since we don't really understand it, we follow the teachings of ego and the guidance of ego. And on we go from there. So now that we've figured out and have set aside a project to understand ourselves, who am I? Then, since we're going to be going out and meeting others, then who are they? Who am I going to go meet? There's just a bunch of bodies walking around, right? But they should be just like me. They should have all these other bodies, right? They should have, because it's not just me. Every creature has these bodies. Every human being in particular has these bodies. Other creatures are not aware and they simply operate through their programming, which is the intelligence of life inside them. And we call that intuition. Everybody has it. So it's understanding other people as well, which is important before we go out and making friends. So you can also create an activity and write down in 10 words or less, who are they? Who are these people? Who is it that I want to bring in my life or I have in my life? Who am I connecting with? Are they people? Are they just environments? Are there circumstances? Why do I meet them? What's in it for me? What's in it for them? Is there a reason? Is there any learning, any teaching involved? Is this person going to add to me, or am I going to help them with something? Is there a message that I have for them? Is there a message they have for me? Do I agree with the way they operate? Which level do they operate in? Which body? Are they focused on physical energy only? So when I see these people, a question comes up. Do I observe or judge? This is a very strong question. Remember, we've talked about this in our previous class as well, in one of the previous classes, that instead of judging everything that we see, we actually choose to observe what's happening. Since everything in life is ongoing and changing, therefore nothing is permanent that we see on this physical plane. If nothing is permanent, then why am I going to judge it? Maybe I should just observe and learn something here. I watch something that comes up, stays for a while, and then leaves. And so is it with the people, with the relationships that we get involved in. You've known somebody for 25 years, but then all of a sudden you would notice that when you see this person, you get agitated, you get disrupted. Then maybe it's time to separate, part ways. Since I don't have anything to contribute to you, and you don't have anything to contribute to me, and I can't help you with anything, and you can't help me with anything, and we just aggravate each other, then our bodies are telling us that it's time for us to separate. The more I linger with this relationship, the darker it's going to get. So it's important to understand that observing is a big factor in living healthy. Judging, and I don't mean that you cannot judge that the fire is hot and not touch it, but I'm talking about judging based on the definitions of right and wrong and what I've been taught all my life. Some of it may be accurate, some of it not. At the end of the day, I'm judging what's in front of me. I can shift from that state of judgment to a state of awareness and observance. And I will notice that pretty soon, a lot of the anxieties, a lot of the depression, a lot of the things that keep me down will start leaving this body because they're not serving me anymore. And so I will notice and I will think to myself, am I living in this moment or am I always living in my head? Judging. One of the biggest advantages of observation rather than judgment is that you get out of your head. You're not always in your head. You're creating an environment based on these judgments in your own head. That's what depression comes from. That's what anxiety comes from. Is because you're in these loops of what happened in the past and what will happen in the future. And you try to guess it. And then your ego immediately goes, what if this happens? So what are we going to do? So let's deal with it this way. And you start coming up with reasons and explanations of acting on something that hasn't even happened. That's what causes anxiety. Something that's not here. We try to figure out what to do if it comes here. What if it never comes here? I'm wasting my time even thinking about it. Or what happened in the past is gone. Why am I going over it and over it and over it and drive myself crazy? Because the mind gets in a loop. I wish I could have done that. Well, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. The only thing that exists in life is this exact moment. And if you think about it for a second, you will notice that this moment is all there is. There's nothing outside it. Nothing. Understanding that we're all connected understanding that everything that I see is another version of me happening. Everyone that I see is another version of me in a different circumstance, acting in a different exact way. Then I understand that we're all connected and we're all one. There really is no separation. Remember that we talked about atoms and electrons and how it's really all just matter is mostly space. And this space are all connected. Therefore, connecting all matter, although the eyes and the senses don't see it that way because we're programmed that way. We're shifting that program to understand that life is all one, and I'm a part of it. And I contribute to the whole, and the whole supports me. Think about that. I contribute to the whole, and the whole is always supporting me. No one is here to hurt me. The universe is a friendly place. It's my thoughts that actually hurt me. And I can manage them by understanding that I control my thoughts. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not this body. I'm much bigger than that. Does that make sense? I wanted to talk about a tribe. What's a tribe? When you say that we're members of a tribe is a group of people who share common interests, values, beliefs, and goals, right? So we live in a tribe, right? If you think about it, our society is a tribe. They tell us what to do, where to go, what to eat, how to think. What else could it be? It's a tribe. So the question that I want to bring to your attention and I want you to ponder upon is this. Do we live in a tribe, or have we allowed the tribe to live in us? Right? Think about it. Are we in the tribe, or the tribe is in us? Think about this. This is something that I hope that you would take a few minutes and you sit and think about, and come up with an answer for yourself. Understanding that we really are just following a bunch of other people kind of blindly. And we don't have to. I'm not telling you should go out and start breaking laws. But what I'm telling you is to understand that you live in a controlled environment created by this society or tribe. It used to be called a tribe when we were all a lot smaller villages, but now, since we're huge, it's considered a society. But the society pretty much dictates how we live. It's food for thought. So how do we connect with others? Right? I've put it down in like 3 segments: activate, participate, and service. So activate means find your tribe through friends, family, school, work, social events, sports, volunteering in different places, different clubs, groups, things that are pretty basic, people that are similar to your way of thinking, people that enjoy the type of lifestyle that you enjoy. Those are your people. Doesn't mean that we're not going to socialize or meet or know people that are totally different, and we don't agree with everything that they do, and they don't agree with everything that we do, because we cannot avoid this. It's a part of our life. And in a lot of cases, it's part of our livelihood, people that we meet at work. But it's important to understand, and that's why it's important to understand who we are and what do we expect others to be like, and whether or not do we have any expectations like that. But also understanding that people are different. They are different versions of us, but nevertheless, they're acting on a level of ego that's separating them from everybody else. And we choose to think otherwise because we already know that we're all one and that we're here to support each other. We participate, we get involved in programs, we give time for programs through volunteering, through organizations, and give as much as we expect to receive, or maybe even more, depending on who you are and what do you feel like. But it's important to stay fully present and engaged when you're participating in an event. So even when you're at work and you don't even like your job, it's important to be fully present when you're at work. And you will notice that everybody else will notice it. You're not doing it for anybody but for yourself, because you understand life and you understand that you're here to do something, and that at this given moment, when you give it all, you're also opening yourself to receiving it all. Enjoy the process while you're doing it. If you find yourself miserable doing something, your body, your mind, your spirit is telling you that that's not for you. And so disconnect. You will find a way to find something that suits you and that helps you live happier. That helps you live more productive, more at ease. Life of service is what we're here for. We're here to help support each other and serve each other. You will find that when you give with no expectation, that your energy level just goes through the roof. Because you serve your community, you're serving selflessly, with love, with respect, and with acknowledging that everybody else also is having their own experiences. You will find more joy in it. You'll find more joy in giving than ever in receiving. And you will find that when you offer gratitude for things, especially for the opportunity to share your joy and love with somebody, that you will get more of it. You will become more joyful. You will notice that stress starts leaving your body. Serving. Excellent tool for freedom from mind. So in closing, I want to say that everyone and every experience may seem different, but we all share the same life source. And that's really one of the reasons that I say that we're all one is because we come from the same exact thing. And we're all connected. So share lovingly, because you're sharing with yourself, although it looks like you're sharing with a different body, but you really are sharing with yourself in a different body, in a different experience. Practicing this will make a lot more sense once you've done it for a while. So when you connect with others, regardless of circumstances, situations, or the people that you're connecting with, remember to generate and cultivate goodwill, generate and cultivate love, generate and cultivate compassion, gratitude, generate and cultivate joy, and most importantly, support. Like I said, it's as if it feels like you're doing it for somebody else. I want to bring it to your attention again. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for yourself. That's why you feel great when you do something for somebody. When you take care of your kids, you feel great. When you take care of your parents, you feel great. You feel awesome. Your energy level just increases because you're in a state of support. Because it's your tribe. It's your group of people. Like they say, it's all my peeps. Take some time thinking about this stuff. This class today takes a little bit of pondering because you really are out there dealing with everybody else, and everybody has their problems and everybody has their challenges. But not everybody has the skill that you have learned in this past few weeks of learning who they are and to make life easier for themselves and everybody else. Thank you, and I will see you next week.